Welcome to the Hole in the Wall Business Podcast with Bill and James. I'm James Groves, and along with my business partner, Bill Dement, we want to share our journey as small business owners with you. As owners of Hole in the Wall drywall repair, we will attempt to peel back the curtain of owning a small business in the trade service industry and talk about the many adventures of owning a small business. Hey, Bill.
James, good morning to you.
Good morning.
I am excited to be back in the podcast studio.
Yeah, it's been a minute.
It's been a minute.
We've been busy.
That's a good thing, though.
It is. Franchise training, franchise shows, might be a vacation in there somewhere. So that's good. Mm-hmm. It's all right. We need to recharge.
In addition, we've met some really nice people lately.
Absolutely.
One of which we have in the studio this afternoon.
Credit to Amy Roble, our business development person, for introducing us to this great company. Let's bring him in. We have Joel Moss. He is the Vice President of Strategic Initiatives with Rytech Restoration of Orlando. Joel, welcome to the show, my friend.
Yeah, welcome in.
Thanks, James. Really appreciate you inviting me to share the studio with you today.
Yeah, we've got a fun time talking before the show. I feel sometimes we may talk too much and don't leave enough juice in the squeeze here for the show, but I think we've got a lot to talk about today. When Bill and I met you, we met over lunch, we really learned a lot about how Rytech is growing, and you've been in Orlando a long time, right? This location's been around for a long time. So I want to dig in a little bit later on what this next rebirth of Rytech is. But I'd love our audience to kind of learn a little bit about you, because you're not just some random person. You've got a lot of history in restoration, a lot of history in the home services industry.
A lot of experience.
Let's just maybe dive in a little bit in your past and kind of what led you to where you are right now.
Well, that's we got to go in the Wayback Machine for that, James.
Mm-hmm.
I started painting bathrooms for my mom when I was a young kid, probably about 9. Dad wasn't around much at that point, and she needed things done, and so I started painting bathrooms. And by the time I was 15, I was painting complete houses, and then started working with the local general contractor, and we were doing numero uno pizzas and making those things fabulous when they were, very prevalent in the franchise world.
Yeah.
And so I went on to college and really enjoyed the scholastic lifestyle, but I really had a problem going to class and doing the studying, and that seemed to get in the way to any other extracurricular activities. So I transferred from that place to the University of Hard Knocks, and I've been attending there for the last 40 years.
Right.
Construction seemed to come easy to me. I always liked working with my hands. I liked the satisfaction of producing something or fixing something or making it look better than it did when I got a hold of it. Taking apart a perfectly good engine to make it go faster seemed like a good idea.
Mm-hmm.
There was always some kind of project going on at my house, and I always had a little workshop, and that hasn't changed. So ultimately, I got a job working down in the harbor in San Pedro, and they said, okay, new guy, you get to go to the top of that 275-foot crane and start painting and work your way down. So I've painted over the years just about everything that'll stand still long enough, from cars to houses to cabinets to heavy steel to, you call it, I've put a finish on it of some sort or another. But after you've done that for a number of years, then you mix your own stain, and you've done all of the faux finishing and the wallpaper installations and all of those type of things, you start looking at other opportunities. So I expanded my resources and have become a skilled tile setter and carpenter, electrician, roofing, drywall. Mm-hmm. You know anybody who does drywall?
You might know a few.
It's always hard to find a good drywall guy.
A few.
So, I worked with a window company, and all I did was patch drywall and patch stucco and get everything to blend, and then leave the color matching to somebody else. But getting that texture to blend is an art.
Yeah.
So I'm always impressed with people who have that skill set. There's a lot that takes place there. So
that's the craftsmanship of drywall.
Yeah, absolutely.
Making it seamless, like the texture was.
Well, and you don't know this, but painting is the same way.
Yeah.
There's a lot of technique involved in painting.
Mm.
Oh,
Yeah, the air conditioning's loud. Sorry.
I thought we were moving closer to the airport. What do I know? So, long story short, I've licensed contractor for painting, licensed contractor for general contracting. I've rehabbed and built houses from the ground up. I started a restoration company out west and started that from scratch and built it to a good-sized company. We had 20 vehicles on the road and, a 10,000 square foot warehouse, 3,000 square feet of office space, doing reconstruction, contents, and mitigation work. It was, it's like running three businesses under one roof.
Yeah.
It was a lot going on. My wife was intricate in that. She and I, kind of like you and you guys, just going back and forth.
We just like to do it. So
She always says, "Hey, we should have a show and record our interactions." And I'm like, "No, I don't need this on record."
So that was in California?
Correct.
Yeah, okay. So owning a business in California, to put side tangent, it's not the easiest place to start a business, is it?
When you don't know anything else, it seems normal.
Yeah,
right.
Yeah, that's
Okay,
true.
yeah.
And I've, being part of another national restoration company, I would talk to owners all over the country, and I would hear, "Oh yeah, California is very difficult." And I've worked in Texas, and I've worked in Oregon, I've worked in New York, I've worked in Orlando, I've worked in Louisiana, and everybody has their own nuances, and they all have their own little difficulties.
Yeah.
So to say it's easier or harder, it's different.
I guess people who live in Michigan, to me, it's hard to live in Michigan because I don't like the cold like that. So, but if you live there, I guess it's no big deal.
Yeah. Well, what's on our radar though about California is that the heavy license
Yeah.
requirements. Even we have a franchisee coming in from California is required to get I think it's a C9 license,
license, yeah.
and we don't have anything resembling that in Florida.
Right. No, absolutely. What I've done here since I moved to Florida, we sold the restoration business, and I ultimately acted as a consultant for that new buyer and traveled back and forth between Florida and California, and got them over the hump, and then came back to Florida, and then was introduced to a gentleman, and I was seeing his brother. We'd have breakfast together on a regular basis, and he says, "Yeah, my brother's like in the restoration business, and he owns a Rytech." And I said, "Oh, that's great. He owns a Rytech. That's really great." A few months later, he says, "I really think you should meet my brother Bubba. He owns Rytech." I said, "Oh, he owns the whole network? He's the CEO?" He goes, "Yeah." I said, "Yeah, absolutely. I think Bubba and I should meet." So
That'd be a good meeting.
Yeah, interesting.
Bubba and I hit it off. We took a phone call and we hit it off right away. And Bubba's very affable, just like the name says. He's a good old boy, and he loves to talk and he loves to have a good time, and he takes his business very seriously. So we talked for several months about some strategic plans that they had for their organization at Rytech, and they picked my brain and found out that I'd had a lot of experience with doing that type of work. And so I was brought on as a consultant to introduce offices to what's referred to as emergency response coordinating. So we would teach people how to be, in the moment and be able to help people in their time of need after a fire or a sprinkler discharge at a property. And we were getting to those places by monitoring some of the emergency bands. And it's a very specific skill set, and many restoration companies are using it to drive business to their door. The way that we were executing it was more along the vein of providing assistance to people rather than being the hard sell, but being, equitable. We're here to help you in your time of need.
Yeah, nice.
So we got some traction with that. We've had some very successful offices. We've had some offices out west that have been successful with that, very successful in the Carolinas, and we've had some success here in Orlando with that initiative. And coming from a much larger network, I've seen emergency response coordinating work, nationwide, and augment the overall revenue of a company, by millions, hundreds of millions of dollars.
Oh, wow.
So with all of that background, we've continued to do the ERC, emergency response coordinating. But not every person's capable of presenting that to a prospective client, and not every office is capable of responding to those things. So
Yeah.
it's a specific niche.
Well, there's a lot. First of all, I have a brother who's an ER nurse, and so you see a lot of traumatic things in the ER, right? When you're pulling up on a job site that there was a fire or a flood, we did it when we went to the Panhandle for Hurricane Michael. The amount of devastation, you almost have to turn part of your brain off. I mean, so obviously the knowledge to do the work is one thing, but the mental fortitude to actually roll up on a disaster, on an emergency, that's not easily trained, is it?
No, it's not. You have to detach, and what I tell our team members all the time is, look, nobody's calling us because they're having a good day. So we need to be, half a psychologist and be bringing some, comfort to them and understand where they're at.
Yeah.
Standing ankle deep in water, or their house just burned down and all they've got is Fluffy in their arms.
Yeah.
So, I've done a lot of cat response. I've followed up on a tremendous amount of wildfires over the years, and I've seen massive devastation. The Palisades, to have grown up in that area and known the Palisades as a pristine, bedroom community, and see it look like the pictures you see from Hiroshima. Hiroshima is really
It's tough.
leaves you speechless.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we do see a bunch of that. I've responded on hurricanes, and I look down a straight highway, and all of the telephone poles are all leaning east.
Yeah, all laying over.
And then you go down a couple mile, and they're all going the other way because of the way that the hurricane spun through that area.
Yeah.
So, it's a unique job for sure.
So in Rytech, so obviously you guys have 24/7 coverage. You got people available all hours of the day and night, is that, I assume?
Oh, absolutely. We've got a great team of technicians and operations managers here in Orlando. Many of our team have been here for 9, 8, 15, 18 years.
Wow.
I mean, we've got a very tenured team. And we're recently been purchased by private
Equity?
equity, and then private owners for the office here in Orlando.
Yeah.
So we've got some new management and some new management styles, and we're looking to bring in full service restoration to the Orlando area and Central Florida.
So new owners have to bring a new breath of fresh air, some new ideas. What are some of the things that these new owners are wanting to do and implement? We talked a little bit about it pre-show, but I'm just curious, what are some of the cool things? Because we said it earlier, in Orlando alone, there's over 600 restoration companies. So the Rytech's a notch above the mom and pop shops that are out there, right? They offer more to it. What is this new breath of fresh air of these new owners? What kind of new strategic things are you guys doing to grow and to kind of make this Orlando office stand out?
Well, it's a great question, James. I think probably one of the biggest things that Neil and Doug bring to the table is the fact that they've got 30 years of experience in the restoration industry. They started as a construction company and segued into restoration. Now they're coming into a restoration company and introducing reconstruction. Insurance reconstruction is very different than remodeling, and there's a process and a system for doing that. With that being said, we're not just going to be settling on residential work, but we're also putting a focus and have been putting a focus on multifamily and HOAs and facilities long before Doug and Neil came into the picture. So those have been some of the initiatives that I've been pushing for Rytech Restoration, because I feel that property restoration from a residential standpoint is a needed service, and we need to continue to make that one of our core offerings. But we also need to be balanced and have other revenue streams, because that's just good business.
It is. And to me, if you don't know about property management, you don't know about multi-unit, multifamily, it's not a big deal. But the property managers that I know, they don't want to spend hours trying to find the right company. They want to create an agreement with, we have agreements with many property managers. So when they have an issue, they just don't call us, right? So if someone has an issue, the partnership that they have with Rytech really puts their mind at ease.
And we're working on growing that. So we have MSAs, agreements that we can put in place. We've got published price lists that we can put in place that are time and material. One of the other initiatives that we're going to be introducing locally here is what we call an ERP, emergency response, or emergency preparedness response plan. Mm-hmm. Which what we'll do is come into a facility like this. We've got a 3D camera. We can actually capture every square inch of the interior of the building. We can capture the ceilings, the floors, the finishes, the contents, the dimensions, and all of that will be captured on a link. We can turn that into a floor plan. Then we will document where all of the shutoffs are for the gas, electric, water, fire system, all of those, relative situations, and then also talk with the property manager or the building owner and find out who their insurance is with, who's their point of contact in an emergency. And we've got all of that data, historically captured. And we will provide that to a property owner or management company so that they have that for themselves.
That's crazy good. I mean, that's a great idea.
Yeah, that is a good idea.
I mean, to have that resource. Most times they have maybe drawings, and that's about it. And you hope someone remembered where the shutoffs are.
A little sketch is very helpful, but with this, the tool and the 3D imaging has come a long way over the last few years. It started with a couple of companies that got into the market, and it's continuing to be refined. LiDAR technology has made that happen very quickly. The camera sizes have gotten much smaller. The detail is incredible. And it's really helpful, especially if there's a fire. And that could be the only evidence that there was a desk or recording equipment here, because after the fire's over, all this stuff is burnt ash and just melted plastic. Mm-hmm. So now you have a historical document that you can zoom in and you can see what the manufacturer of the desktop, the laptop, the screens, the sound system, all of that is, has been captured and memorialized. It's a marvelous tool, and we're offering that service to people for nothing.
Yeah, really.
Oh, wow.
Wow. Well, hopefully they use you for everything. So that'd be a nice arrangement. So
certainly a goodwill gesture.
Absolutely.
It's a way for us to show that we've got great technology, we've got great people, and we've got great tools, and we can, help people in their time of need. Mm.
So in your new role, obviously you're working with the property managers, but you need other vendors, you need other resources to help you guys finish those jobs. Could we focus a little bit on your relationships, like with people like Hole in the Wall, like how important is it to build quality relationships with other vendors, other key home services type contractor people?
Well, I think it's instrumental in order to, be productive. With the volume of work that we have coming in, we need, vendor partners, right? We need good quality people like Hole in the Wall to be able to come in and do drywall insulation, moldings, painting potentially, be able to cover all of that. We need a lot of vendors. Over the years, I've interviewed a lot of vendors, and I like to have, 3 vendors in every trade so that it helps us to schedule projects, right? And we can be more responsive to our clients. The benefit to having vendors on our team, the benefit to the vendor is that we, as Rytech Restoration, have already inspected the property. We've created the estimate. We've got it secured and approved. We've created the relationship with the property owner. In many cases, we've helped them pick the colors, the flooring, and the countertops, the cabinets. All of that has already been, done in pre-production. So our vendors just need to come in on schedule, stay on schedule, and complete high-quality projects. And, for that, we can continue to bring them in on project after project.
All of our, I'm kind of hogging all the questions, Bill.
No,
sorry.
it's fine. You're doing great.
All of our new franchise owners, it's key that we coach them to create strategic partnerships with trade service partners. We call them trade service partners, where you build relationships with companies like Rytech. I mean, restoration companies really are important to the drywall industry for us, because you guys create a lot of damage. If there's a flood, there's a flood cut, well, that's drywall, that's insulation, that's, base trim. So we really put a focus on build those relationships, but maintain those relationships. So it's not just hey, I know Joel, thanks very much, and then we walk away. It's we have to keep earning your trust every job, right? So this is not like you give me a job and I'm your partner forever. We have to earn that keep. And so building these relationships, I feel, are going to be a key for all of our business owners moving forward. And I'm curious, when you're out there looking for a vendor, what are some of the things that you are looking for out of them? There's a lot of mom and pops out there. There's a lot of 1099 guys that just have sub crews. But with Rytech, I think if you're putting the Rytech name on it, there's got to be a different level, a different standard level. What are some things you look at in those trade services partnerships?
I think it boils down to, my wife's father used to say, if you want to soar with the eagles, don't flock with the chickens. Mm-hmm. So we want to partner with good people, right? Because people who we partner with are reflections of ourselves. So what are we looking for precisely? We're looking for people who are skilled in their trade. We're looking for people that want to show up, that when they say they're going to show up, which seems to be a hard thing here in Florida.
For some.
We want them to do a good job the first time. I've worked at companies, and on the sign on the wall said, why is there never enough time to do it right, but always enough time to do it twice? Just get in there and do it right the first time. And if it takes a little more massaging, then so be it.
Yeah.
I mean, let's have some pride in our workmanship. Let's be proud of what we produce and be able to communicate. Communication is key. When we look at our reviews, and when you look at your reviews, communication is either the thing that made the deal or that lost the deal. If the communication was poor, the review is poor. If the communication was great, the review is great. So we want people to be representing us in a positive light.
Yeah. I think it's very important. And I knew the answer, but I wanted you to say it because I think it's important that, because our fan base, our customer, our people who listen to the podcast, it's key that you do what you say you're going to do. Don't make a promise you can't keep, right? And showing up on time, when we say we'll be there at 8 o'clock, we want to be there at 8 o'clock.
Feels like he's been reading our mail, doesn't it?
I know, it does. I mean, and just there's always enough time to do it the second time.
I use that very phrase.
We say it here a lot. All right, shift gears real fast. This is kind of a fun, is there a project that kind of sticks out as one of those mayhem projects that turned out into something great, or a story from an emergency that just kind of sticks with you throughout because you got decades of experience.
Thank you for putting it that way.
Yeah, they're
You've got decades also.
I know I do.
We do indeed.
And I'm curious if anything just kind of sticks out, like just kind of a story that you would, I like hearing people's, stories that might trigger a response of some flavor.
Oh my goodness.
On the spot, Joel. Sorry.
Yeah, I asked you to prep me for this, Sir James. Thank you. There's so many little things that have happened over the years. I mean, I've worked in, working in Los Angeles. You cross paths with a lot of celebrities, and you find out that they're just people, just like everybody else. It's you end up working on Frank Lloyd Wright houses, which, not everybody gets an opportunity to do that, to bring it back to where it was and not disturb the historical value, but augment it and make it nice again. One of the things, you asked that question, what stuck out was I was responding to Hurricane Laura in Louisiana this few years ago. And I'm trying to find a place, through GPS, which was spotty because cell service is terrible after a hurricane. And I find myself at this crossroads, and everything around it is complete devastation. And the only thing that's standing up is a road sign, and it says Cripple Creek. So all I could think was Creedence, John Fogerty and his boys have been here, and this is what they were writing about, down on Cripple Creek. Are you kidding me?
That's crazy. That is fun. Well, listen, why don't we wrap up here? But I want to figure out if someone needs the Rytech services, if they want more information on Rytech, if they're here in Orlando or maybe nationwide. You guys have how many offices nationwide?
Right now,
plus?
we've got 120 offices, give or take. We've closed on several more sales and added additional territories since the first of the year.
Mm-hmm.
So
Nice.
we basically have all of the coasts covered between Seattle and Maine, and we're starting to fill in the Midwest and start getting into the West as well. So
Very good. And so to get hold of Rytech Restoration here in Orlando, what's the best way to get hold of you guys?
Well, probably the best way to get a hold of us is go on Google, see our 4.8 stars on there. We pride ourselves in that. Look at the phone number. Mm-hmm. We've got several phone numbers. Please call the local number. You'll get a live answer.
Yeah.
And whether it's during hours or after business hours, we're promoting that we're going to be giving live answer, and we'll be giving warm transfers to our technicians that are on call in the field. Every week there's a technician that's on call so that we can provide that 24-hour service. And if the project is, sizable, then we can, we've got resources to bring in and backfill that.
Well, it's a breath of fresh air to have somebody like Rytech in the corner of the homeowner or a business that's had a tragedy.
Absolutely.
So, is there anything we missed we want to talk about before we let you go, Joel?
No, I just think that this is a great service that you guys are doing, and you have a lot of fun with it. It's been a pleasure getting to know you guys, and I'm looking forward to keeping this relationship alive because relationships are the foundation of the business world.
Agreed.
Well, thank you. I look forward to it as well. We love finding quality people to hang out with. So
Yeah, you're here.
You qualify.
Yikes.
All right. Well, listen, thank you very much for being here, Joel.
Yeah, thanks for
Appreciate
coming.
you and Rytech, and thank you everyone for listening. We'd like to thank you for listening to the Hole in the Wall Business Podcast with Bill and James. We'd love for you to join our Facebook group and keep the conversation going. If you'd like to learn more about us and our business, check us out at holeinthewall.com. If you'd like to learn more about how to start a Hole in the Wall franchise, go to holeinthewallfranchising.com.